Welcome back to Financial Therapy. It's not just about the money. I'm personal financial planner, columnist, and financial therapist Rick Kahler. Research tells us that 90% of all financial decisions are made emotionally, not logically. For nearly 4 decades, I've been helping people make better money decisions. So what makes my financial worldview different from most financial experts? I blend the nuts and bolts of financial advice with the emotions that drive making them. Good money decisions are not just about the money. So let's get started with today's episode. Welcome back to another edition. I want to talk about defining what financial well-being is. And for those of you that immediately are going, well, you talked about that in episode 75. You'd be right. And I'm going to go at it a little differently than I did in that recording, which I just listened to that recording and the audio, I don't know what was going on, but it was not good. So I want to take a look at defining financial well-being from an IFS perspective. And I've never heard this done. Of course, there's not too many people that are a certified financial planner or a certified financial therapist that are also certified in IFS therapy. So I'm going to come at it from that perspective. And this was inspired from a interview I did with Lori Walsh on South Dakota Public Broadcasting, where we did a segment at the very end. We said nobody ever talks much about what financial wellness really looks like. So with that little nudge, and the fact that I presented a workshop at the IFS conference in 2023, I first came up with these for that particular presentation. So I hope you enjoy the perspective. And what I'm going to do is go through what the healthy behavior looks like and then contrast that with the unhealthy behavior. So first we're going to start with what Internal Family Systems refers to as the 8 C's, or the qualities of being present, of being, and their term would be in self. And this is a place that all of us can, I want to say, discover or get to. It's basically a healthy financial system. So let's start with the first quality, which is calm. And looking at this from a financial perspective, this is kind of a tranquil harbor where there isn't any anxiety around finances. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't pop up occasionally, but it's not a chronic, systemic issue. Those who embody calmness in their financial outlook can navigate the ebbs and flows of monetary concerns without being overwhelmed by anxiety. This would be a state where you have enough money to cover your basic needs, which would include money for healthy food, a nurturing environment that is safe to live in, good clothing, safe transportation, and access to health care. On the flip side of calm is turbulence. The turbulent internal financial system is filled with anxiety. It becomes your constant companion. Financial worries loom large and cast cast their shadows every direction and on every financial decision and action. It's a perpetually stressful internal environment. The next C is clarity. The healthy internal financial system has a clear path ahead, knows what their future needs are. They are saving for financial independence. Sometimes we call that retirement. They're saving for a down payment on a house or a child's education and scores of other things. The foresight that you have is just a guiding light. It certainly reduces anxiety and allows you to really steer through all the financial uncertainties that are guaranteed to happen in life. On the opposite side of that is ambiguity. So unlike clarity, the fog of ambiguity just blankets those unaware of future needs. So that leads to a lack of savings for financial independence or goals of any kind. Your financial compass just basically lacks direction. So that leaves a person navigating through uncertainties with no clear direction, no clear destination. The next C is compassion. When you are self-led around compassion, you provide for your current needs without the weight of obligation, shame, or guilt. A lot of people have guilt around getting their needs met, especially their financial needs. Giving, on the other hand, then comes from a place of abundance or joy rather than from emotional burdens that are usually wrapped in oughts and shoulds. So you're able to provide for your needs. You're able to provide for others' needs from a place of joy and abundance. On the other hand of compassion is indifference. Of course, that's where you neglect your current financial needs, or you give out of obligation, shame, guilt. This is all showcasing indifference. So indifference creates a disconnect between your emotional and your financial realms. It stifles any hope of systemic harmony between your needs and the needs of others. Next is connectedness. Here you have a good relationship and a secure attachment around money without parts of you feeling conflicted and polarized. Polarization is where a part of me wants to do this and a part of me wants to do the opposite. A part of me believes this and a part of me believes that is crazy. So you don't have those polarizations. Instead, you feel safe, you feel supported, you feel connected to money, and you allow money to support your physical and emotional needs. You're aware, you're connected, able to express your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs around money. So generally speaking, you live in a state of financial harmony, of internal financial harmony. On the opposite of that, you have being detached. So being detached is the opposite of being connected. You're not connected to your relationship with money. You're completely detached from your finances. You have a lot of internal conflict and polarizations, parts of you that are in conflict. So this will lead to a lot of anxiety, something that they would call anxious attachments and avoidant attachments with money. Very anxious around money, or just completely wanting to avoid it. And if you're drawing some parallel here to the money categories, the first money category is money avoidant. And so that would definitely fall right here. So just a lot of discord within yourself. There just isn't a wholesome financial outlook. The next is courage. Someone that has financial courage is able to uncover vulnerable parts of themselves that have been wounded around money. And this takes a lot of courage, because we can't heal, we can't liberate those deep wounds, those deep emotional wounds we have that affect our money without the courage to look at them. So you're able to address these really hard financial realities in the here and now, like having a plan to pay off debt, spending less, saving more, and having boundaries. That takes a lot of courage. On the flip side is conformity. That's protecting the system's status quo around finances. We're just not going to rock the boat, in other words. It's also protecting any vulnerabilities. Again, we're not going to rock the boat. So that really characterizes conformity rather than courage. It's addressing hard financial realities. And of course, that can totally hinder progress, and it maintains the status quo of probably self-sabotaging and hurtful behaviors at the expense of growth. Both growth financially. The next one is creativity. And I think this is using resources to find financial solutions that really cater to your diverse needs internally, because we all have different needs, and sometimes those needs seem to be in conflict of one another. So it's doing some self-collaboration to make sure that all of our needs are met. And creativity kind of fosters an environment, an internal environment, where innovation meets financial necessities. On the other hand is sterility. And this is just sterile. There's no creativity. Needs are not going to get met. Or certain needs will be left out of the equation. It's just a stifling of any innovation, any creativity, any adaptability in finding financial solutions. Curiosity would be the next C, and this is seeking to discover and modify unhelpful money scripts and behaviors, and then being curious, because we first have to be curious if we're going to seek to discover that, and then the curiosity to acquire the knowledge, skills, support that's needed to make sound financial decisions. It's an eagerness to learn and grow in the financial realm. As opposed to this is apathy, complete disinterest, or certainly a significant disinterest in acknowledging money scripts, or even being aware of hurtful financial behaviors, just a complete lack of effort in acquiring necessary knowledge and skills, telling ourselves, we can't do that and I don't have the energy to do that. This type of indifference inhibits growth and any development in obtaining financial literacy and financial wholeness. The last C is confidence. That's really trusting yourself to use your resources. You don't have to know inherently all the answers, but we need to have confidence that we can use resources available to us to make sound financial decisions. This person really feels secure in their ability to collaborate and meet their financial obligations and goals. On the flip side is doubt. You distrust yourself to resourcefully make sound financial decisions. And of course, this results in insecurity within the system. A real doubt in whether I can meet my financial obligations and reach financial goals, if that will ever be the case. So those are the 8 C's, and now the 5 P's of a self-led internal financial system. First one is patience. That's just being fully aware that financial wellness takes time, and the willingness to take inevitable setbacks, because setbacks are inherent, they will happen, to take those in stride, to know, and I think especially this is true in investing, understanding, using your curiosity to understand the market's ups and downs, and the patience to be able to deal with the difficult emotions that can come up when markets are going down. Of course, the opposite of patience is impatience. That's expecting immediate financial results and disregarding the fact that financial wellness requires time and consistent effort. Presence is the second P. This is being really conscious of your current financial situation. Therapists will often refer to this as being in the here and now. You are present. You can see the reality that's in front of you. You can access thoughts, emotions, and sensations that you have in reaction to things that are happening right now in your current financial situation without judgment. And that's really important, without judgment of saying, wow, I'm feeling a lot of anger. I'm noticing I'm feeling a lot of sadness. And instead of judging that I shouldn't be having that, getting curious about that. So this is the ability to see the reality of your current financial picture without undue influence of yesterday or tomorrow, right? Being right now, because so many of us, and myself included, can tend to live in the past or the future, into yesterday or tomorrow, and we completely miss what's right in front of us at this moment. The opposite of being present is distraction. These are thoughts, emotions, sensations around money that focus on the past or the future, not the present. And those thoughts, emotions are usually accompanied with a lot of judgment and shame. And so this becomes a real cycle that can be going on within us, where we're jumping from past to future, shame and guilt and blame, and we just completely avoid being present, failing to address what's right now in front of us, what's really happening, and also focusing on other, typically less important activities. It's being busy. I'm thinking of the Enneagram and a type 9, of which I'm a type 1 with a 9 wing. I'm being really busy, but busy on the C priorities rather than the A priorities. Busy on the more immediate things that really can distract us, kind of a financial ADHD. Next is persistence. And this is a continual commitment and continual action to the service of improving our personal financial well-being. This is persistent to face the obstacles that inevitably are going to come our way, to kind of be knocked back, knocked down, and get up and keep going. Flip side of that is inaction, just being unwilling to move from a particular financial position, unwilling to even see what's in front of us, unwilling to consider a belief we have, to look at a money script that we have, to consider that maybe we could risk changing that financial situation to improve our personal financial well-being. So just a general lack of commitment and motivation to change. And kind of what I touched on a little bit, the next one is perspective. And this is really important. It's just the willingness to open up to new ways of seeing things. It involves courage to consider that maybe my perspective was a little off. We've talked a lot about confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is where I look for data to underscore what I believe. So in that sense, there is no perspective. There is no openness to consider, maybe I got some faulty information there. Maybe I'm not completely correct in this view. Maybe the emotions I'm having, the reactions are having are to something else in my past rather than what is really happening right now. That's called interpretation by nonviolent communication standards. So perspectives on money scripts. Maybe my money scripts are only partial truths. Maybe that money script could be false in certain circumstances. It's a huge one in obtaining financial wellness. Of course, the flip side of perspective is narrow-mindedness. That's just resistance. And we've talked about in other podcasts about being aware of when we are resistant to something, We're resistant to any new exploration, any new idea, any new perspective on money. We refuse to consider alternative views or reevaluate thoughts, emotions, and stories related to it. You could say that narrow-mindedness can result in polarization, just unwilling to look at the other side. And of course, we see this in action in spades in our current political environment. Finally, the last P is playfulness. How can you be playful around money? Well, this is holding our self-reflection around our finances, around money lightly. It's a little bit of don't sweat the small stuff. And I do not mean by this that money isn't serious or being nonchalant. I'm saying to add a little Enneagram type 7 energy, positivity, understanding that we can actually enjoy our money. And also that money can be an enjoyable game. And a lot of folks, maybe some of you are like, what? How can money be enjoyable? People that typically entrepreneurs, sometimes money is an enjoyable game. Now, I'm talking about an enjoyable game and not a driven, burdensome, a definer of a person's self-worth. I'm not talking about that. But it can be a game and have a lightness and a playfulness to it. Of course, the other side of that is grimness. Taking personal finances overly serious, being overly focused. You might think in the money script categories of the money vigilant. The money vigilant typically doesn't have a whole lot of fun built into their life. Viewing money perpetually as a heavy burden rather than something that can be enjoyed or something that can be spent to support your quest for meaning in life and create financial well-being. So, those are the 8 C's and 5 P's of financial well-being, and the opposite, maybe I need to work on what I call those so I can say they're the 8 A's and 5 W's that create financial discord and a lack of financial well-being. I don't know if I'll get that far, but I hope that's helpful to you. I hope that's a touchstone, and that as I went through those, you could identify parts of your financial system that were aligned positively and parts of your financial system that could use some attention, maybe an intervention. So, well, thanks for being with me, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Take care. Thanks for joining me, Rick Kahler, for another episode of Financial Therapy. It's not just about the money. This is where I combine the nuts and bolts of financial advice with the emotions that drive making them. Remember, every financial behavior, whether it appears illogical to you or others, makes perfect sense when we understand the underlying beliefs, feelings, and thoughts. Sign up for my weekly blog at financialawakenings.com. I hope you'll join me again for our next episode.